Hi, I'm Gretchen Case, and really the time is you're going to hear from Leslie Francis. I'm just here to introduce her and the topic we're talking about today. So I'm the director of the Center for Health, Ethics, and Humanities, and we serve the whole university. So our faculty come from all over the university. Leslie Francis is one of our faculty. She's a distinguished professor in both law and philosophy. So she works on both legal issues and ethical issues. Many of you know that the University of the U this year especially has gotten really interested in AI. There have been a lot of initiatives, there have been workshops, there have been applications and proposals, and you may have been involved in some of those. Well, as we talked about this seminar today, this conference today, and talked about how much AI was coming up, one of the things that always comes up are, well, what are the ethical questions? What are the legal ramifications? And so we've asked Leslie Francis here today because she can answer both questions and where those things overlap. So she's not going to tell us everything, but she's going to tell us a lot about the legal and ethical implications of AI. It's all yours.
Thank you very much. And I'll try to do this quickly, but I think I need this. Okay. So I just thought I would pick 3 ways that AI might play into health sciences education. How you teach, how people learn, not only your students, but also you and your colleagues, and what the ultimate impacts might be on caring for patients. I think you'll see from this that, so on the one hand, AI is a great shiny new toy. On the other hand, I've got some cautions for you here. Okay, teaching. So, AI is a great content generator, and teachers might use it just as much as other folks. But we've got ethical issues here about how AI selects or helps you present in ways that might slant what you're presenting without you even recognizing it. So I just played around with PowerPoint for a quickie here. So PowerPoint offers you a design function, and AI helps suggest designs. So suppose here are 3 different ways you might title your slideshow on justice in healthcare. One of those issues that came up maybe in some of the other, interprofessional education or other educational things. One slide, scales of justice. A second slide, these are all suggested designs from the design function. A second slide, a little bell to ring when the next patient can come in. How does that have you think about allocation? And the third one, holding hands. Care ethic. Just think if you were to start a presentation on justice in healthcare with one of these slides, how your audience is primed to think. Are they primed to think about, let's balance things? Are they primed to think about, let's try to be really efficient? Or are they primed to think about how to care? Okay, and a legal problem with AI. AI trains on data, lots and lots and lots of data. Much of the data that AI trains on is put out there for the public to read, but may be subject to various intellectual property claims. There is currently a lawsuit pending by major newspapers against OpenAI and ChatGPT for concerns about the use of copyrighted material in content generation. We're going to have to stay tuned over the next however many years as this new toy plays out about the intellectual property implications. Okay, learning in AI. You know, AI is great for helping students organize, helping students find things. But it's also great for encouraging people to try shortcuts. And a worry about whether the habits that students learn when they can use AI may be ultimately problematic. And we're entering a new world where people are going to have to think about what does academic misconduct look like. You know, I don't know whether you got in your syllabi statements about what is the permissible use of AI in your classroom. I know I do. But here is just a quote from the American Association of Medical Colleges about what students may have to disclose on applying to medical school or applying to residency programs, which is if you're ever the recipient of any institutional action by a college or medical school for unacceptable academic performance or a conduct violation. We're all going to have to think through the use of AI, possible conduct violations, and would any of this be reportable? Big issue for you as instructors and for your students. Okay, caring for patients in AI. You know, this is from 2018 when AI was kind of just, you know, really the new kid on the block, from a wonderful, albeit a little bit doomsday scenario and has its own political views publication. My husband's a specialist in European comparative politics. We're a very interdisciplinary family and actually research team on issues of health policy. But The Economist is a British mag, which is, you know, if you want to read how American policy looks to folks in the UK and maybe even to Europe more, read The Economist. So this is AI radiology and the future of work. Clever machines will make workers more productive more often than they will replace them. That's what The Economist was saying at that point in time. Okay. So ethically, just think about some things about the use of AI, the risks of algorithmic bias. Are we worried about whether or not the data that get used to train AI have built-in biases that might be deeply problematic in dealing with certain subsets of patients? Huge concerns about patient privacy. You may be aware that there's an artificial limb developed here at the University of Utah that uses AI to adjust the limb to whether it's raining, where the person is walking, for example. But that information could also tell people where the limb is. And, you know, the patient might have left it behind, but the patient might be walking into an abortion clinic wearing the limb, which might just be a privacy worry these days, okay? So, and then concerns about whether people will understand what AI can do for them, help make them more efficient, be a check. But things that AI might not do well, including judgment about whether there might be algorithmic bias built in, that you need to use clinical judgment to think about, okay? And finally, Does the use of AI in clinical care raise new legal issues? I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole about standard of care and how that might be affected by AI. But I am going to point out to you that our state legislature in this last session adopted the first AI regulatory statute in the country that directly impacts professionals. If you are a licensed professional in the state of Utah and you use AI in interacting with patients, that's not the same thing as using it to read the scan that you will then talk to patients about. But if you have AI ask if you have ChatGPT ask your patient questions, that has to be prominently disclosed to any of your patients. So I think your students are going to need to learn over the next little while about some of the ways in which AI legal regulation might affect their practice. And with that, thanks very much.